Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Beyond Loss, Loving Life with Karen Chaston. As you can see, I am Karen Chaston and thank you for being here again. I love doing this show every Monday at noon Sydney time. It's the easiest way to say it because we're all in such different parts of all the world. But today I'm so excited to have a person who I met last year or the year before. I think it was 2018 I met Bron. Anyway, Bron Watson, welcome to my show. It is so great to have you here.
Oh, hello. Can I hear you? Hi, everyone. While Karen works that out, I am Bron Watson, and it's lovely to be a guest here today. Are you there, Karen? Great. Okay. So it looks like I'm here waiting for Karen to come back on. Lovely to see you all. So I'm just I'm in Port Macquarie, so I'm in business, and Karen's going to be asking some questions, and we'll go through that shortly.
Thank you, Bron,
Here she comes. Hello. I don't even know what to say.
That is so funny. I hit to expand the screen and I lost it all. Isn't that good when I just love someone?
Love it.
I just closed it all down. So isn't that great? I love it. So thank you. So, Bron, great to see you here and love the fact that you went with it. Hi, Michaela. Good to see you here. So, Bron, this show is, as you can see, is called Beyond Loss, Loving Life with Karen Chaston. So you have had a fair bit of loss in your life. You know, how can you not? There's over 40 different loss events. So I'd like you to share some of your journey with us, please.
Right. So where would you like to start? Where'd you like to start?
Wherever you are feel inclined to go there.
Great. All right. So I have 5 amazing sons, married to Paul. So I've been really busy over the years, and I'm a nurse educator in my previous life. So I was working in nursing as an educator on the floor, you name it, and coming close to 40. And I went, is this it? Great. Happy birthday to me. I've got a baby in my arms at 40. This is not right. But it was right because it's what happened. And I decided that I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to choose my own path. And, you know, can't be that hard, can it? I was so ignorant. Anyway, so back in 2010 to 11, I started Nurse Power, which was my first business. Went so well to the point where I started my current business, which is called Bron Watson, which is a social media marketing agency. But back then, I was teaching other people like me to get out of their careers or out of their lane to start a business and grow a business online, because I grew my whole business online using Facebook. And fast forward, trials and tribulations, as you can imagine, with 5 children. But come to 2017, and I had the words, Bron, you have breast cancer, and no, it's not in the early stages. I was 48, and my world stopped. It was horrific. I went through a mastectomy 5 days later, then chemotherapy for 5 months, radiotherapy. And so in terms of treatment, I've finished we never stop treatment. For those of us who have been through this journey, it doesn't stop. But what it did was I didn't have a plan B. So I didn't have what if something happened to me. The business is called Bron Watson. People are expecting me to show up. I couldn't show up. And it's like, man, this is not good. And so this is part of the lessons, I think, the loss. Pretty much, I actually refer it to the old Bron, because I can remember it was after my 3rd dose of chemo, and obviously bald as a badger, bright red, terrible, terrible side effects. And I delivered a Facebook Live into my group, my mastermind at the time.
Wow.
4 hours after leaving the hospital, right? Because
oh my God.
I know. I wanted to deliver what I said I was going to deliver, but you know what? I remember I was at Manly. I'd been to treatment in Sydney. I'm from Port Macquarie, as I said in the little intermission at the beginning, and it's like I looked in the mirror and I just saw this wreck of a human being. Chemotherapy was far worse than I could have ever imagined. Remember, I'd had 20-something years of experience in nursing, and how many people I'd said, oh, you're off to,
You're on the other side.
So sorry, you've got cancer. And it's like, oh, my God, now it's me. And I tell you what, I looked in the mirror at myself and I went, do you want to die? Do you seriously want to die? Because if you do not stop, you're going to die, because this is not right. And that was the epiphany, and that's where I realised that I needed to really listen to whatever you want to listen to go, Bron, something has to change.
Okay, so before we go on to there, I've got a million questions to ask you. I just want to go through the comments. Thanks, Miranda. Thanks, Jess, love Mercury retrograde. That's obviously what happened in the beginning of us. And, we just went through it. Who cares? It's pretty good. Nice to see Miranda. Fiona, I do not do readings. I help people to move beyond loss by talking to other people who have been on different journeys. And I obviously have programs that help people to move beyond loss. I am intuitive. We're all intuitive. But I do not connect people to their loved ones on the other side. So I hope you understand that, Fiona. Happy to have you here, though, if you want to keep staying here. And Fiona,
she's actually written.
Yeah, obviously, the next comment. So, And, I've sort of found that whatever loss event comes to you, there is always lessons for you. There's always so much growth, so many ways that you can actually stop and look at your life and go, do you know what? I'm not doing so great here. So, and that's exactly what you did, Bron. So let's explore that a little bit further. Sure. And hello, Narelle. Okay, right.
And Fiona, to you, my fellow breast cancer thriver. So I'm not a survivor. I call myself a thriver, because I'm not no Zeta survivor. No bandanas.
No good. And to Marianne as well, whose mother passed away in 85 from breast cancer.
Wow.
And I'm sure her breast cancer journey would have been a different journey to the, obviously, the treatments I'm talking about, more than what you sort of went through. So what made you stop? Was it the fact that you were going straight back to work like hours after leaving the hospital, or what was it?
I think it was the fact that I was so literally hell-bent on providing the support for other people, because I'm a nurturer. That's who I am. That's what I do.
You're a nurse.
I'm a nurse, right? So I give, right? So I'm giving. And it wasn't till I literally caught sight of myself in that mirror and went, oh, my God, or goodness, or sorry, insert whatever word you want there, to go, I think that I was given a message, and, that message was, Bron, this life of yours can be done differently. And you know what? I am so damn grateful for that. I would have rathered something a little less life-threatening, to be honest, because you know what? It doesn't end, it continues, and on we go. But it's just the fact that I'm grateful because it brought me to my knees. It made me stop.
Yes.
It made me stop. That's the key, right? I had to stop. I had no choice.
Yeah. And that's what 2020 is about. It's making people stop and go, is there a better way?
And I think it's really, really important to acknowledge and reflect on that, no matter what situation you're in, and see it for what it is, which is a gift. Because, I now talk about, I was in Top Gear because that's what you're meant to do. If you get online and research how to be an entrepreneur and run a business, you got to hustle and blah, blah, blah. Did all the things because I didn't know any different. But now I know that nothing is nothing is more important than I think than self-love, than looking after ourselves. And for someone who's like me, that was no easy lesson, because I had spent literally my life caring for other people in all situations, from birth to death to major trauma, you name it. And it's like, hang on here, girl, this is going to be your time. Just, because of course, when you're you'd know, Karen, when you're in a situation, I'll call it a situation, when you're in that, when there's loss, there's grief, there's trauma, there's all of those things, you just don't know where to turn. And all you keep, for me, I can't call for anyone, for me, all I wanted to do was I wanted to find a normal. Could I just have a normal day? I want a normal.
What is normal?
But
what is normal? Because your normal is not my normal.
No, that's right. But I wanted to be normal.
Okay.
And I was working my ass off to be normal.
What's your interpretation of that, Bron?
Showing up the way I used to show up.
Okay.
But the lesson, of course, was, no, you don't need to do that. That's no good.
But the lesson is, I love that. That's no good. And also, you're never going to be the same after what anything happens to you. And I love the fact that you said there was a gift, because as you know, I call my program the gift of loss. Because we deep dive into your beyond loss to find that gift, because most people don't do that. We're too busy trying to get back to normal. And one thing I love, and there's actually a book out there by how have I forgotten his name? But anyway, from the speakers, why have I forgotten his name? I've even done courses with him. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But his book is Bounce Forward. And when you think about it, who wants to bounce back? It's about bouncing forward into a place where, you can go, well, I'm moving forward. Like, we don't go back. We can learn from the past, but we really want to keep bouncing forward. And you have, because you've completely revamped your life.
I have.
Yeah. So share some of that. And then I want to get into your business, because I know that, we're online at the moment, and so many people really do starting businesses, especially with this pandemic. Everyone seems to be going, well, let's go online. Let's do things differently. So I'd like you to share that as well. But first of all, let's talk about how you revamped your life.
Right. So when I had that epiphany, which was just before Christmas. But you know what though? I still cooked a full Christmas lunch, which is what our boys love, 3 days after chemo. Like, when I look back and I go, really, Bron? Really? What were you thinking, you silly woman? But with the revamp, I think it doesn't come with I now know it's a journey, and some people hate that word journey, but to me it's like, just for today, my focus is whatever it's going to be. And back then it was literally survival. Yeah. During the active treatment, I'll call it, right? So went through all of that, and I literally I was running a large group of mastermind people at the time. I literally turned it off overnight.
Oh, wow.
So, well, I chose to, because I don't want to die. I mean, we're all going to die. Let's be, we're all going to die. Let's not worry about that. But what I'm saying is that I wasn't prepared to sacrifice my soul literally anymore. Mm-hmm. So I turned off the entire top end of the business. And by this stage, remembering that my husband Paul and I had been in that business together since 2014, so he joined the business in 2014. I even, and I think I've shared this with you before, I rang Centrelink because I went, okay, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to go and get myself a little pension, right? Because I didn't have income protection. Bad mistake. Paul has income protection, but I didn't. And I'm very honest about what I share with this stuff, because if there's something that you're in and you're it, make sure there's a plan B, whatever your plan B is. So like now with my business structure, I have a plan B. If something happens to me or if something happens to anybody in our team, we're covered. So back then, didn't have a plan B. So I thought, bugger it, I'm out, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore. Rang Centrelink and they're going, Bron, you'll need to employ someone. I'm going, sorry?
You need to what?
Employ someone.
Oh.
Employ someone. And I'm going, but I don't want to employ anybody at that, like I already had an assistant, but I didn't want to replace me. And then I've got to pay their, anyway, besides all of that, I went, great, cool. That's not going to be an option. What can I do? So I know people don't like the word pivot, but where the evolution came.
Just use pivot. Pivot is my fifth step in my program. It
is too, right? So the pivot came when I looked at what I could do, not what I couldn't do, but what I could do. I have Master's of Education, been teaching for too many years. I thought, right, I'm going to run some workshops, half day because the neuropathy in my feet. So I had a lot of pain and a lot of numbness in my feet. Cool, I could potentially, and I started wearing Converse shoes, glittery ones to make myself feel better. And I started running workshops locally. And I just focused on what I could do locally. And I've made the most amazing friends because I never needed to work locally. And I thought, well, I've missed out on all this time and all these super cool people because I thought that they weren't the right place for me. So I just think if you've got a crisis or if you're going through a loss, you just look at what you can do. Look at what you have got, what I call quality easy, where, what's going to be so easy for you to deliver or do that isn't going to suck your energy because we only have finite energy. So I realised. And it just grew from there and I just puddled along and did what I could do, developed relationships, worked on me, and everyone's take on cancer is different, right? So I am no expert. So just the caveat out there, this is Bron's version for herself, is that the cancer started for whatever reason, that mutation started, but I didn't want to feed the beast. So whatever fed the beast before, I needed to look at in the future. So when you're talking about bouncing forward, I wanted to bounce forward. I didn't want to bounce back because, of course, you go start reading some books about you can heal your life and all of these things and you look at
I love that book.
Breast cancer comes from, right? And you're going, cool, where's my level I'm not responsible, right? I'm not responsible for the cancer because it's not mine. But it's around for me, I felt that I wanted to not feed whatever fed it before. Yeah. And that's where it's like, what can I change?
Did you have to deep dive? Did you have to deep dive in to figure out what had caused it?
Look, I struggled with that for a long time because one, no one wants a diagnosis of breast cancer. No one wants a diagnosis of any kind of potentially fatal disease. And I had 3 people in 3 weeks from surgery send me things around. I had someone say to me that it was my lack of, how was it worded? My loveless lifestyle choices.
Oh.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
From somebody who hasn't experienced what I had experienced. And it was a big call, I thought, because it's almost like a judgment from one person to another.
So they just said this is the reason. They didn't say this is a possibility.
No, it was.
Okay.
It was.
So if they had said this, if they had said this may be a possibility, would you have received it more with love? The comment,
perhaps, because to me it came with a judgment attached.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think when you're in that spiritual intuitive space, it's really, 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 really important to word it coming from a place of love. And I am sure 100% that person meant well. I know for a fact that they meant well. But you've got to remember that I was literally 3 weeks from, Bron, you've got breast cancer and no, it's not in the early stages, to a mastectomy to your chemo starts in 3 weeks, honey.
Yeah.
And then you're throwing this at me. It's like, what?
Yeah.
So
No.
it's not that I didn't want to hear it, but I struggled. And because of that, and it was that in itself, that delivery of that information was quite traumatic. So added to the trauma of the layers of the trauma that I think it's really important how we word things. So now I don't have a judgment. I just acknowledge, I'm so sorry it's happening to you. How are you feeling?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
and I don't say sorry only because I have an issue with people saying sorry when I say I've lost my son. People go, I'm sorry. And I'm going, I don't get that. Only because I say I'm sorry when I've done or said something wrong. I say my condolences. Yeah. And it's just
I'm acknowledging. And it's a good question. It's a good question to work out. My acknowledgement is that I'm sorry this is happening to you, is what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
can't change it. Can't change it.
Expression. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry this is happening because all I'm doing. My point at that time is to acknowledge. Can't change it. Bron, the nurse, would have wanted to fix it. Bron, the old Bron, would have gone, oh my God, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Whereas now, no. I've got a friend who's having a major surgery this week. She's already done her chemotherapy and she's already had some surgeries already. I'm not offering any advice because if she wanted it, she would ask, whereas I'm just sending her those positive vibes and I'm going, you know what, you got this, girl, you got this. But I'm not saying it to her unless she asks.
That's so important. I love that because we all bring our own beliefs to the conversation, our own ways of looking at things. And it's like reach out if you want advice because otherwise, if we give it, and the person does the opposite, it's like, well, I told you what to do and you ignored it. So, that's your problem.
And it comes from love. We've all done it, right? Gosh, I did it for 20-something years where we're hearing something. And for me, I can't talk for the rest of you guys, is that I wanted to innately fix it because that's what I did. Whereas now it's like, can't fix it. And the amount of information that I got sent, like I'm talking, I've still got it in the cupboard. It was like that high people, and they mean well. Gosh, I thank you so much for those who did because I was so grateful, but I couldn't process any of it. And then, people saying to me, Bron, you've got to do your kale smoothies and the this and the that and the others. And I'm going, you know what? I hate green leafy vegetables. And if I'm going to die.
I love my green juice.
But green juice is great, but it's at the time I wasn't ready. So I think what happens is that it's just thinking and working out what is right for you, not anybody else. And I'm talking from the inside out.
Yes.
Not from the outside, not the, oh my God, you got to lose weight. Yeah, you're damn right I got to lose weight. No problems at all with that. But the thing is right then, what I needed was to literally just encase my own heart and go, Bron, it's okay. You got this.
Yeah.
Set an intention and listen.
Yeah. Now, Bron, it sounds like, and this is definitely coming from love because I have been in the same situation. It sounded like your body was a very acidic environment because when I was in my corporate life, I know that my body was a very acidic environment. And I remember reading years after I left, when I was on the journey that I'm doing now, that I think I read it came from FMTV, Food Matters TV. And they actually said that if you're always angry, you require more green in your life. And I looked back and I thought, do you know what? I was always angry when I was a CFO. Nothing would take me to fly off the handle because I was constantly acidic. I was constantly working too much, eating too much, drinking too much. And then I took it one step further because I went, the heart chakra is green, as is nature. And I was like, I'm not spending enough time loving me and looking after me. If I was, I would be not so angry. I would be green juicing as I do now every day. And I do love my green juice, but I'd also be spending more time in nature. So
Yeah.
not only would I be
Love it.
loving me more, but I'd also be giving love more to all my family and friends. So it's quite interesting. And that's what it sounds to me, that you're in a similar sort of
Look,
scenario.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. You know, like if you go get your blood test done, and again, everyone insert
Yeah.
whatever you want here. What I found at the time, one, I would start walking on the beach. So I would literally walk with the water rubbing over my feet post chemotherapy, because I was in chemo for 5 months, and I would walk and I would visualize the toxins being sucked out and the good negative end, like ions coming in. Because, you know, I remember once I was in this Facebook group and a girl put a question up about whether she would have chemotherapy, or I think it was on behalf of a friend. And the literal hundreds of comments
I can
from
imagine.
the audience was
That'd be extreme.
it was extreme, and I don't know, it just shocked me, the level of opinion that people have, that they've felt that well, she asked for it, I suppose, and I because I've been through it, and because I got shunted into a machine where I didn't have time to process. So if I'd had time to process, would have I done things differently? Yes.
Of course.
Yes, I would have prepared myself. Would have I even taken the course of chemotherapy? Maybe not, but we can't go back because it's done. But it's like, be so mindful how that opinion is given. Whereas, you know what? It's whatever feels right for you. Because let me tell you, when someone says to me, you're going to have 75% chance of living in 5 years' time versus whatever, until you're in that situation, you will never know what you're going to do because of the, you know, for me, my youngest, Ollie, was, I don't know, 8.
Yeah.
My baby, you know, and it's like he needs his mum. They all need their mum, but I need them as much as they need me. So coming back to, you know, the state I was in, absolutely. So in terms of resentment, because again, Mrs. Fix-It, what happens when people don't do what you say? They ask you, but then they don't do what happens? You go, oh, freaking hell. You get resentful, don't you? And what does resentment really hide?
Yeah.
Anger.
Yeah.
So the anger was like, but it was anger at myself because of the resentment, because, you know, of, I think, looking back, just wanting things to be the way I wanted them to be, because I was determined. I grew this business and I had these kids, and I just feel that, you know, it's so important to just stop and reflect enough to go, really, what am I really feeling? Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I projecting? Am I resentful?
Yeah.
Because it all comes back to sadness and you know, it's really love and sad, you know, love and anger.
There's love and fear. Yeah, there's love and fear,
right? So, I mean, I was filled with fear because I was terrified that I was going to die. But I actually worked with someone on that, and this is where I think people, you know, with your expertise, Karen, I could not recommend it enough, that it's learning how to acknowledge the loss and working with it, because you can't change it.
No, but it's not only that.
Go away. You're going, no, it's not going to happen. So to me, you know, if there's one thing, it's as I said, it's just for those of us who haven't, like, I haven't lost a child.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't even begin.
And I would never, ever say to someone else who has lost a child, I know what you're going through, because I don't. Because every relationship's unique, every situation's the same. But what I love about what you said is that you looked at your emotions.
Yeah.
Now, your emotions are your friends. And it's not easy for us to understand that, because they're painful at times. So we use all these unhealthy habits to squash them down. I don't want to feel you. I don't want to feel you. Just give me another glass of wine, or let me eat something, or let me go shopping. Like, it's even called retail therapy. Like, seriously? You
Well,
know,
let's
so
work some more. Let's build another online program.
exactly. And exactly. Let's just avoid. But the fact that you said I started to look at my emotions, like
Oh,
good
yeah.
on you. And you can tell you've healed yourself. Like,
Oh, absolutely. I have absolute belief.
yeah,
I'm in a very weird kind of space where I don't get tested. I don't get diagnostic imaging. I don't get diagnostically reviewed. You hear a lot of people go, "Oh, I've gone for my 12-month review and I've had my scans and I'm a bit scared, blah, blah, blah." I don't get any of that. I don't know why. I have asked. But I've worked enough to go, I know I'm okay. And you know
yeah,
what? If I'm not, I'm still okay because
yeah,
I can't, what else can I do? And it's like, it's not about the doing, it's about the being.
yeah.
It
It's
truly
totally
is. And it's
about being.
all about the being. If we all just focused on the being, which is, you know what, how do I want to be today? Well, I want to be on that couch over there reading a good book. I got a couch behind me in the studio. And I'm going to go, cool, so because that fills my soul. Or it could be I'm in the garden, or it could be hanging, building Lego, there's only so much you can build, let me tell you, but after 5 boys. But it doesn't matter what it is, but it's the being. And I think
Yeah.
I don't project anymore. You know, I know where we set goals and I set intentions, right? I call them intentions now. Like you guys are so much more experts in this space than I am in terms of spirituality and learning and tapping in. I'm only just learning. And again, that's my lesson. I'm so grateful that I can now listen. I can listen to, does that feel right? Does that not feel? It was the old Bron would have gone, no, she's right. Too busy. Whereas now,
Yeah. And it's so right. And we all would have been exactly the same. So let's get on to your business, because I love what you do, because you help other people to grow their businesses.
I do with social media, right? So rather than being a business mentor end to end, which is what we used to do, there are so many amazing people in this space. I just stick to my lane, and my lane now is just organic social media. And I call it the star of influence. All right. Because there's influencer marketing, right? So you can be a Kim Kardashian and wear the new shimmy tracksuit with Paris Hilton, because that's what they did this week.
Oh, did they?
Which is great for her. No opinion here. Or you can be a person of influence. And you might only influence 200 people, but those 200 people are the most amazing, hugely awesome people, because you are so in your space and so in your purpose. So where I'm at is I do just organic social media. So we work with people, we do it for them, also teach you how to do it yourself. So it's a good space, because I think how we show up should be exactly how we show up, like this.
So tell me, what social media do you work with? Like what platforms?
My preferences are Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I have a gorgeous friend called Rachel Dunn. She does YouTube. So I just stick to my lane,
Yeah.
Basically, I get the right message to the right people at the right time.
Okay. And so when you say you do it for them, so do they write it, or how does?
Well, I've got a little secret sauce there. I've got a little secret system that I use that I've created for my clients. I've got a way that I voice memo talking to them, but I know what questions I'm going to ask.
Okay.
And I get that information out of them. So yes, it absolutely is my client's voice. It has to be your voice, can't be mine.
Yes.
That's stupid.
I totally agree.
So it's like it's your voice, but I'm going to teach you how to find your voice if you do. Because some people go, I don't know what to write about. They don't, and like I feel like I've got a disease half the time, because I'm thinking, there's a blog in that, there's a blog in that, there's a story in that. It's like a sickness. So, but I just see those stories, I see the value, and you're thinking, Bron, that's so boring. It's what I do every day. It's like, well, no, it's not boring.
Yeah.
Because it's your purpose. If you're in purpose, right? So like the old Bron would have gone, I just want to help everyone. Just want to help everyone. Now, I don't help anyone, but I show up and I demonstrate. And if that helps someone, that's cool. Very different way of looking at it. So if you show up as you are, knowing that you're on purpose, it's just so powerful that you will just attract the right people. You just do. It's not rocket science. You go Google organic social media, you'll find 50,000 gazillion experts in this space. But for me and my clients, it's all about that uniqueness, that unique point of view, and I draw it out of you because that's my gift. I've realized that's what my gift is to find these things inside that some people just don't know they're there, and the value. They can't see it as a valuable thing. And, I just think when you realign your mindset and your confidence and you start showing up as who you are, really cool, good things happen. And you're thinking, well, it's got nothing to do with social, but it doesn't. But it has everything to do with how you've shown up. And then I can tell you now, I've got, some very successful stories around by just doing Facebook, believe it or not.
Wow. So can you share some of them, like without obviously naming?
Yeah. Okay. So I've got a client who's an interior designer, and she came to a workshop with me, 18 months ago. And I was talking about, how, ideal client, all the good things that a lot of business coaches will talk about. Not a coach, putting it out there, just saying. It's like, she sat there and she goes, Bron, I can't blog. I said, you can talk, right? Yeah, cool. Got the phone out, rev.com, my favourite friend, and I stood in front of her, like crowd, there was 15. I don't have small workshops, there's like 15 people in the room, stood in front of her, asked her a question, she told me the question, got it transcribed, sent it to her and said, Catherine, there's your blog. And from there, she started working with us in December last year, and she has a couple of different things in her business. So she had reached her financial goal by May, and she said, well, you can either sit back and relax for 7 months or we can do something else. So she decided she's created another part of her business. Boom, sales, 10,000, the big sales, not little sales, in a week. So off she goes again. She's been put forward. She's in Port Macquarie, but she's been put forward as a national finalist in some interior design organisation. She's been published in a national magazine. So, very, that's very popular magazine, which I won't mention. She's now published in there with one of her stories, I suppose, and she's just loving it. She's developed an online course. It's gone live, all because she started to show up online using organic social media, and we only started with her with Facebook.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, how does an interior designer have an online course?
Well,
and I know it's just my limiting mind on what they do.
She's packaged up how you see people with mood boards and all the different pieces and things. She's got what she uses, and she teaches you how to work out what you like. And she just takes people through this really cool basic system. And, I think the course is predominantly designed for people who are in like units and things. Her ideal market for this particular course is for couples with no children, might have a dog. She's very much into having a house or a home for the family, and the family involves 2- and 4-legged furry friends. And so she just takes people through how, and she can help. She shows people how to pull things, like in terms of how to bring things together. And it's so simple when you see how, but you got to do the course to find out. And that's like one of the courses she's done. So, I know, like back in the day, this is what I did when I came out of the whole nurse power into the Bron Watson thing, was you can do an online course on anything.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Really good money from it if you know, and it's not if you know how, but it's like as long as there's a market, people are buying, there's a market. So like, for example, with a workshop or anything that I've ever sold, I've never written a word or booked a thing before I've sold it, because I want to know that people are going to buy. It's got to be what they want. No point in me. I've seen people create the most incredible courses and events.
Me.
And then there's no one to sell to. It's like, no, I got this around the wrong way. We got to create the community. That's what we do. We create the community, we create the followers, we create the engaged people to hang out with, and then you got something to sell.
Yeah, I like that. I like that way of thinking. Believe me, I've created a lot of courses and then they are unbelievable and some of them just sit there. But anyway, we learn and we grow.
And I call them hidden assets. You'll always be able to use them somewhere.
And you know what? I have, because I've bought them into other things, into books or into my latest courses and all that sort of stuff. So they are, even though at the time we think, oh my God, they've gone nowhere. But nothing is ever a waste of time, is it?
Never. Nothing is ever wasted. Even with campaigns that you think that don't work, they do work because they're teaching you how to tweak stuff. So, you know, nothing is ever wasted. No post is ever a bad post, ever. People say to me, oh, Bron, my Instagram feed's so crap. Do I just delete it? No, just leave it and just now start, you know, basically I say show up with purpose. Show up with purpose and show up with something that you love. So like for Instagram, pick a theme you love. There's so many cool ways to make themes these days.
Okay, let's expand the show up with purpose. What does that mean to you?
What that means to me is when you are consistent, even if you think that it's B and C grade quality, when you are consistent and you're giving a message that is valuable, all right? Something isn't valuable unless it solves a problem. So when you know who your ideal client is and you know what their problems are and what they want and all the stuff and the things that we're taught to do when we're growing our businesses, when you know that and you're speaking, aka video, writing, copy, content, however you want to deliver it, don't worry about how it's delivered. When you're speaking with that person and it enters the conversation that's going on in their head and they're going, oh, she gets me.
Yeah.
She gets me. So that's what I mean about showing up with purpose, which is who do you want at I call it the barbecue test. Who do you want at your barbecue, right? If I said to you, I am going to invite 10 of the super coolest people out there ever to come to your barbecue and they're all going to be your clients, who are they? Who would you invite? And I'm not saying you literally have to invite them to the barbecue, but what I'm saying is go for what you want. That's going to, you know, have your soul sing literally because you are in alignment, because they're going to be in alignment with you. That's showing up with purpose.
Yeah. And I totally get that because, you know, with my emails, I get that a lot back. Oh my God, it's like you're in my head, you know, and when I talk to them, they're exactly the same thing. But it isn't easy to get that initially, is it? As you said, it's more the way that you just keep going and going and going. But you obviously help people to get that out.
I do now. Remembering that I didn't know all this stuff before. I've had to learn it myself, and I've invested to learn it as well, mind you, over the years. But I think now let's just keep it simple. Stay in your lane. You know, if you go and look at, you know, I have a lot of people say to me, you want to compare yourself to an internet marketer. Why would you want to do that? Do you have a list of 250,000? Or do you have a list of 200? You can't do what they do. I know they're telling you that you can, because that's what they're selling you, right? But the thing is, how do you want to show up? How do you want to communicate? And the thing is, and not being concerned for those who you're not connecting with, because you're not meant to. Simply not meant to. You focus on the ones that matter. And as I said, you know, I would rather have 200 followers who are actively engaged and who are there for me and I'm there for them. It's a two-way street. That's what they love. It's all about the two-way street with relationships and connection, versus 20,000 of people who don't even see a thing because they're not engaged at all.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, so I was going to go back to comments, but it looks like Miranda has said it all starts with self-love, and we can conquer the world, and it's so true. But it's funny, isn't it, that a lot of us have sort of, for some reason, I guess it's the way we were taught when we were young, you know, if you love yourself, you're vain and it's not good and all that sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
the more that you actually do show up for yourself, the more that you can show up for everyone else.
And the thing is, the mean girl voice, the mean girl, that's what you're told, is that if you have self-love or love yourself, you're up yourself, versus I'm here for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here to be the best I can be for me. And if that helps someone else, that's great.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, it doesn't matter, because it's achieved what I've wanted it to achieve.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things that I learned, you know, after not long after Dan's passing was that, which really surprised me because I was like 54, 55 or something. And it was like, he's the only person that you're going to spend your entire life with. So why are you putting yourself last and giving up on your dreams?
Oh,
And
yes.
I know. And it's like, why didn't I get that when I was younger? You know, it seems quite strange that so many of us do it, and we give up our health in order to get our wealth. And then we're like, what's going on here? So if you could go back, Bron, and talk to yourself pre-breast cancer, what would be the advice that you, even if it went back even further than that, you know, when you first got married, before you even had kids, what would be the advice that you would actually give to young Bron?
I would tell Bron to chill the hell out. I would say chill out, relax.
Yeah.
And you can only do and be what you can do. You only do the best you can do with what you've got. And I think that the pressure that I put on myself to be the best mum, you know, in terms of, you know, just all of those things was ridiculous. And what I thought that I should be able to do, why?
Yeah.
Why bother? You know, it wasn't until I think child number 3 or 4, a dear friend of mine from Tasmania said to me, she said, you know, Bron, some days you're going to live, some days you're going to win, some days you're going to lose. And on the days that you're going to lose, you just pack up and you write it out with no expectation and you start again the next day. And, you know, I just put so many high expectations on myself to be the best for me or to be the best for, I don't even know why. So what I would say to my younger self is, Bron, do what you love. Because I did not feel in alignment with my profession for many, many years, but I kept going because that's what good mummies do. They go part-time and they look after their babies. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, because it's whatever's right for you. I did what I did the best I could with what I had. But if I had anything different, what I would really focus on is, Bron, what's your purpose? Go and listen to yourself and think about that purpose. Think about that intention of what we all have, a unique gift in this world. Every single one is. Yeah. And I would have started the quest to find the gift a lot earlier.
And it is, as you said, it's a journey, and I totally agree. Now, what is it? We've got 12 minutes left, so I'm going to share if people would like to get in contact with you. At bronwatson.com, and I've also in the at the beginning I've also put your other social media links and stuff like that, which I just love. And I have loved chatting with you today, because we, as I said before, I think I cut myself off in the beginning, we have been friends for a long time, and but you also do eWomen Network. So let's just briefly chat on that for a couple of minutes. So talk about that. What is eWomen Network?
Right. So eWomen Network is a large network from the US, Northern America, and it's been going for 20 odd years. And back in 2018, I met this girl called Tracy in a very large group that I reckon a lot of us are in, right? Back then there was like 60,000 people in it. Now it's like 350,000. It's a big group. And we're to and froed, and she said, oh, have you heard of eWomen Network? And I said, no. And she said, I think you need to. So she sent me, and of course, being in Australia, we've already got a lot of networks, right? A lot of networks to belong to, right? And back then, I was an anti-networker, because I've never enjoyed networking ever, because I just felt I don't know. I mean, if I was truly honest with myself, I felt I wasn't good enough. You know, I wasn't thin enough. I didn't have the right shoes. I didn't have the right clothes. And I was very superficial rubbish, but I did feel not worthy to be in a room of successful entrepreneurs, believe it or not. So I met this woman. I heard all about eWomen, and I got on the call with Sandra Yancey, who is the co-founder and CEO, and she ran through the values with me of the network, and I love the values. I still love the values to this day, which is, you know, give first, share always. There's a lot of lift as we climb. There's a lot of wonderful attributes to connection and collaboration. So from there, they had been looking for about 10 years for someone to take up the role of eWomen Network Managing Director for Australia. And that's now me. So it's slowly, surely.
Big job.
It's huge, right? I didn't realise what I was doing at the time. Gosh, it's a lot harder than I thought. But it's about connecting entrepreneurs the globe over. So we have members in Zambia, Australia, Singapore, in the US, just in our chapter alone. And I think it's all about connection and collaboration and connecting with purpose. It all comes back to, and that's why it's in alignment with me. But, you know, but like anything online, you've got to give to receive in any kind of networking situation. And again, the good old consistency word makes a huge difference. So, yeah, that's what we do, is that we're connecting locally, nationally and internationally. And, I've met some incredible people. I can tell you, just the most amazing. I met you.
Yeah, you didn't meet me. But via an American friend. She told me.
An American member.
She told me about eWomen Network, and I went, it's not in Australia. And then probably about 6-8 months later, she goes, no, it's in Australia now. Connect with Bron. And I went, okay, and that's how we did it.
And that's how we connected. And she's a member in Atlanta. So
that's right, Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
The good thing about this pandemic is that they actually took their online, because before that, you were the only one that had online meetings.
I was the only one, and now everyone does it. So now it means that we can now attend events within the time frames.
Time allowed.
There's a multitude of events we can now connect with, and it's been awesome in that space. And we've been able to get some amazing speakers coming to our chapter, and things like that. So like next month, I think we've got Lisa Wegman. Can't remember her last name. Wagman Ling, I think her name is. Now, she's been working with Tony Robbins for 27 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's a trainer with Tony Robbins. So she's an incredible speaker coming. You know, so I think it's just those connections, Karen, where we can connect and collaborate so much better. And I think what's important these days is you want to connect and collaborate with people who are in alignment with you. That to me is so important. You got to feel it. You got to allow yourself to feel it and not just do it because that's what you're meant to do.
No, and I totally agree. Wow. Okay, so we've got 7 minutes left. So I'm going to, there's a question inside of me that I really.
Go on.
You've got 5 boys, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever want that girl?
Every single time. Every single time. I didn't even want girls. I didn't want boys. Didn't even want them. Right?
As a mother of 3 boys, I know that sometimes there is just too much testosterone in the home. But I grew up in a family of 6 girls and 1 boy. So I wanted a boy first, I must admit. I didn't want another girl.
Oh, look, I wanted pink, my logo, everything's pink, Nurse Power's pink, but it's, a lot of people say, oh, did you keep trying? It's like, well, no, not really. Yes and no to the answer to that, but the best thing about it is I have the most amazing girl dog. I waited 10 years to get Zoe, and she's deaf. So we'd chosen her from the litter. She's a Lagotto Ramanolo, so she's an Italian dog, and we'd seen this little dog for 7 weeks, and the owner rang me and said, my God, Bron, she's deaf. We'll get you another dog. And I went, no, because I was given that dog. I really, truly believe that little doggy came to us. And being deaf in a house of boys, man, it's the best thing ever, because let me tell you, with the testosterone, right, it's like through the roof. She can just merrily sleep through it. And I just look at her and go, gosh, maybe. I say to the boys, can't wait till I'm old. I'll get my hearing aids, flip the batteries, can't hear a thing, can't wait.
That's so funny.
So, yeah, I think it's definitely need the balance in some way. But, I've got gorgeous nieces and things like that. So,
it's the dressing, it's the clothes, isn't it?
It is, and I just think the mother-daughter thing, but it wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't.
And that's how I look at it.
It wasn't my lot, and I did grieve. It took me a while to get used to it, but I wouldn't change it because our boys are so different, and the lessons that they've been brought to this earth to teach me, I'm very, very grateful for.
Oh, that's such a beautiful way to look at things. Now, I'm just going to swap this banner over because, as everyone knows, this show is all about beyond loss and how you can create that better over your own life. So I have an ebook that if anyone would like to download, please do so. We're down to like 4 minutes. Hi, Tris. Tris, T-R-I-S. I guess that's how you say it. It's like Chris, only with a T. Welcome. And if there's any more questions or anyone want to reach out, please do so because, Bron, what you do is amazing. But more importantly, your journey has been amazing because we probably wouldn't have even connected without it.
No, we would not have connected because I didn't think that networking would benefit me. I did have a mentor for years telling me that you don't have coffee chats, you don't network, you don't need to network. That's not how you invest your time. Your time is worth more than that. Whereas I now realise my gift of connection, which I see it as a gift, because is to being able to connect not just myself, but me connecting other people together is actually quite unique, and that's actually my strength. So what was considered my weakness is actually my strength.
Yeah, and until you have that conversation, you don't even know how you can help other people. And I'm I always
you are, and I think people know people, and what happens if with networking, if you just focus on the person in front of you and think, oh, no, they're not my ideal client or they're not my client, and you don't invest in the relationship of building trust, you don't know who they know, and you could be severely jeopardizing your growth of your business, organic growth of your business, simply because you have put an opinion or a judgment call on what you simply don't know who knows who. Nobody. I talk to the most random people, and I enjoy that because my role is my question I ask is how can I help?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite questions too. Well, we're down to less than 2 minutes now. So is there anything that you would like to leave as a parting gift for all of our viewers today?
Well, I think that as you go through the decades, it's only a matter of time before you have a loss of some description, whether it be financial, personal, emotional, people, health. We all have losses, and I think the most important thing is to acknowledge that loss and learn from that loss. And sometimes, as I said, it does take people to help you through. I had someone help me through. I wish I'd known you, Karen, because I've been on some of your trainings, and I feel that we all have something that is a loss, and we can learn from it and not see it. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's horrible. Yes, we would all prefer not to have had it. However, I literally thank cancer for teaching me to look after me. And if there's nothing else I can say to people who listen to this recording or who are here now, is just listen to yourself. Listen to that little voice. It's there. It's there. And you don't want the brick. You don't want the freaking truck through the driveway like I got. Stick to the little voice. It's so much easier. And it's just not realising. And I think that's where the awareness comes in. And until you slow down enough, because you slow down to speed up. man, I'm super fast now, but I'm slow at the same time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Good on you, Bron, and thank you. Great advice, and I have loved our hour together today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much
Now
for
you
having
can go
me.
and sit on your pink couch.
I will now.
Okay. Bye, everyone.